So here we are with Stuart Sandford, and how many months have you actually been here at the Tom House?
So I got here on, I think it was like April the 6th. So it's about 9 or 10 months. If we're in January, no, so April to May, May to June, June, July, July to August, August, September, September to October, October, November, December to January.
So
Wow.
I have a question for you, and that is, how did you, what made you come to the Tom House? And I met you in England.
Yeah, with Gary.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess it was sort of just a general inviting you to, if you did come to Los Angeles, you were welcome to come to the Tom House, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it was great that Gary wanted to introduce us, and yeah, I think I'd expressed to him at some point that I wanted to be in LA, and so he introduced us, and he obviously thought there was some connection that we could make. And I guess I dreamed of coming to LA for a long time. I've always thought it was kind of my spiritual home.
Had you been here before?
No, I'd never been here before. No, never.
And yet you felt that it would be?
Yeah, I just felt it calling to me. I could just feel it calling to me. And it felt like that when I arrived. I felt very much at home. I mean, I didn't know anyone here. I knew one person. Obviously, I've met yourself very briefly, but I had one friend. So he kind of showed me a couple of things, and then I came to the house, and then it all became something different, and I started meeting people, and I was just in this space and able to, start making work. So yeah, I guess it was just Gary's invitation of getting us together, which did it.
So there were several different sort of eras. I mean, you were actually working with Patrick and creating those film little evenings.
Yeah, and which were great. So we did those the screenings, like the 16mm and the 8mm screening, which was fantastic, especially to do out here in the light. But it's always a pleasure to actually screen 8mm and 16mm and have that sound. And I think people like them a lot. And it was great that Patrick was here. And what was funny is that we actually have a lot of friends in common in London, but I'd never come across him. I never met him at all. So we got on really well, had a great time together, and started working on trying to digitize parts of the film and moving image archive. And then, I think what I wanted to do really was try and document my time here in a very specific manner. So I got in touch with this company called Impossible Project, who they bought the last Polaroid factory, and so they recondition and remake Polaroid film and Polaroid cameras. And I asked them to sponsor the project, and they sent me a camera and sent me some film, and I thought, okay, this is a great way of doing it, because Polaroid is so instantaneous but so transitory as well. It's a very delicate medium, and because my time here was, I felt at first it was going to be really short. I thought it was going to be like 3 months or something. So I thought it would be the perfect, medium to do that. And
how many pictures did you take?
I think I probably took more than 100 Polaroids, and I think there are 40 that are really good, and that will see the light of day either in a publication or an exhibition.
So the group that you actually sold to a particular collector,
yeah.
How many were in that group?
There were 24 in that group, yeah. And so they'll probably be exhibited in June, July here in LA as part of Pride. Time to be as part of Pride. And then we're also going to do a book at the same time, or a catalogue, which will have some of the other from the 40 in that book. So yeah, I think I'm so glad that happened, because when we showed them at the art fair, I thought, maybe they're just going to be bought by individual collectors, and then they kind of disseminate across the world and be split up. And I think the fact that they stayed together is really nice and really special.
And they actually told a story, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what I always tried to do in my photography, was to create some kind of narrative, rather than just an individual image, which it's meaningless. But if you put it with the rest of the images, then you have this story, you have this narrative, whether it be about a person or a space or an event. I think that's really important to my work.
So, in coming to the Tom House and making it your base, and creating a body of work, because you've actually been working on other projects also, but was that planned, or was it actually in the back of your head? You wanted to actually produce something out of it, or was it just sort of you let go?
I think it was very important for me to produce something out of it. I wanted to have something to show specifically for my time here as well. I mean, I think you could just come here as a residency and simply explore the house, the people, meet the people, talk to people, explore the city, explore LA, and you can have a great time doing that. But to me, I think I need to have some focus, which is why I thought I need to have the Polaroid series in the book. But having said that, I have had a couple of ongoing projects that I've worked on. I've been working on a short film as well, so I think it's really important for me to be focused on my work, because otherwise I'd just be hanging out, getting drunk. And
You actually, your partner in this film, this new film project, was actually you met here.
That's right, yeah, and again, we got on really well, and that's happened so many times. I've just come across people here, like with Patrick and with Rich, and there's been some spark, and I think that's one of the great things about here. And for me, it's kind of difficult. I'm not necessarily the most I sound talkative now, but I'm not necessarily the most talkative, personable person. I don't necessarily always want to be surrounded by people. So I think one thing I wanted to do by coming here was take myself out of my comfort zone. And the house, there's always so much going on that it can get a little a bit too much when there's events and there's people coming and going. But I think it's important to put yourself in that situation of not knowing, and that's what I did. And I think from that I met Rich, and I met Patrick, and I met so many other people. And I think that's like one of the richest things that I've taken from the time here.
You certainly have enjoyed the sunsets.
I've loved the sunsets. 2 days ago I just came and sat out here for a few hours, and I wanted to really soak it up and just enjoy the moments. I mean, the garden is such a magical, or the pleasure park is such a magical space. I know I love it out here. The light is fantastic. For a photographer or someone who works with images and moving images or still images, the light here is something else.
So, is there any pointers that you could actually provide either the foundation or the next artists in residence, as far as what you would suggest to actually adhere to or not to adhere to, or?
I don't think there's anything I can say not to do, because I think the way it happened has actually been so organic and so natural that I think to put some kind of, say, specific order onto it is not necessarily the best way. I mean, maybe if you say to them, please create a project whilst you're here. Please, perhaps apply with something that you can focus on whilst you're here, and then perhaps at the end of it you can have an exhibition or a small presentation of your work. I guess that's important, but I kind of did that myself anyway.
Yes, right.
So I think for a lot of people that would probably be important for residency, but with other artists, they're already motivated in their own way.
What do you think is, as far as this place, the Tom House? It's, I mean, as far as communicating to somebody else, if you were going to communicate to somebody who'd never been here and never had, what would you actually tell them about this place?
I would tell them that it's an inspirational place to be creative, to be yourself, to meet people. It's just something that's so nice to be here, and just to be able to spend time here with the people in the space. It's kind of a magical experience. It really is.
You
It's
tended
like,
to bring quite a few people here.
well, that was really important to me, and it was really important for one reason. Well, for a couple of reasons, but I remember you saying at the beginning, Alex Hercule brought lots of people here. So I was like, okay, I'm going to bring more people here, and that was really important. I really wanted to bring a lot of young people here as well.
Yes.
That was really important because I think that's the future of the foundation. It's
Yeah.
going to be younger people doing that stuff. So that was really important to me, and I think I've with a couple of the events there've been people here, and
The birthday party was
the
pretty.
birthday party was great, and a couple of the screenings where we've had young people as well. I was surprised, but that I didn't even know where they came from. I guess they've heard of it through mutual friends, but yeah, I think that's really, really important.
So you and I had to learn a few how-tos, right?
Yes, we did, and I think Turkey is because I think we're both stubborn, and we're both, I think we have mutual respect and love, and but yeah, we're obviously stubborn.
Well, I want to acknowledge you for actually being willing to, after we had a blowout, that you actually would regroup, and then you wanted to actually make amends because you had actually vetted, and you didn't want to stay there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a horrible place to be in. I mean, to me, it's, to be invited here. I certainly don't want to, fuck up that relationship, and be in a situation where there's some kind of stress and tension, because who wants to be in that environment? It's not conducive to creating. It's not
Right.
conducive to enjoying. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I can be an asshole, as you know, and that happens, and it's mostly when either like maybe there's some kind of financial situation, and I'm like, oh god, I gotta sort this shit out, or
So the question that we're asking was that your plan is to come back to Los Angeles and maybe you sort of set up shop and really sort of live here.
Yeah, definitely.
Not that you haven't been living here,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
sort of get yourself an apartment or a house. Or,
Exactly. I mean, I've kind of fallen in love with Los Angeles, and a lot of that has been obviously spending time here and in this the great house with the people around me, but also people seem to like my work here more than any other city that I've sort of set up camp. I lived in New York for a little while, lived in Berlin for a little while, and those cities are great, but they're tough in their own ways, whereas LA seems to be a bit more easy, especially with my work. And there's a lot to be said, obviously, for the beautiful, beautiful weather, and
So-
the fact it's also cheap. Like compared to London, it's very cheap. So I think it feels like also.
do you think
reminds
it's
me
a
of-
good place for young artists, for
I
developing artists?
I totally do, and one of the reasons I feel that, it's kind of similar to Berlin in some way, whereas there's kind of a can-do attitude. You can still go out there and do stuff. You can find a little deserted factory or a little building and actually, set up something in there, and it happens all the time here. It happens all the time in Berlin, and it's still cheap enough to do that. Whereas London, it's so difficult to do that because it's so expensive, and New York is so difficult to do that, it's so expensive. So here I think it's still really, really fun and an easier place to do it.
So you have film, you have your sculpture, you have photography. So you really are. All of these are sort of moving forward with you, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
Actually, go ahead.
it's about the it's about the
Okay.
idea.
So I was asking you about how you actually view your work in all these different mediums.
Yeah, so I work with photography and video and film and writing as well. And to me, it's about expressing the idea. It's not necessarily about the medium. So my work, it deals a lot with sexuality and masculinity and ideas of identity, but that comes from adolescence and where we're trying to figure out who we are, which is why a lot of my work has representations of movies that I was watching when I was a teenager, or music that I was listening to. And I think that's very important. I don't want to be stuck in one single medium. You know, I want to be able to express myself through as many mediums as I can that fit the project or fit the idea.
So what we'll do, Stuart, is I'll turn the video camera over to you, and you can complete the this little document. Okay?
Cool. So it's sunset in the garden here at Tom House, which is my favourite time of day. I used to come out here all the time and sit and just contemplate. The light is just amazing. It's just beautiful, beautiful space and a beautiful time of the day. This is magic hour, and it really is magic hour. Actually, on my first day here, I came to this orange tree and just picked off an orange and juiced it, which was kind of magical to be able to do. And I do feel really, really lucky to have been invited here, and really I've had a great time. Doak and Shop have been wonderful, and I really thank them a lot, as well as the other people in the foundation, and I definitely will be coming back and spreading the word, and with the exhibition that I'm doing and the book I'm doing on the Tom and Finland Foundation. I mean, I'm certainly always going to be here in some kind of sense, and that to me is a good thing.